And welcome everybody to another Bangers and Classics podcast with me, James Ruppert, and him, David Malloy. And what's David been up to?
Well, I've been mostly recovering from the hangover from last week's award show.
Yeah, that
I
was
mean,
good, wasn't it?
well, I don't know. I mean, I was chucked out, if you recall.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to seek solace down the pub.
All
Uh,
right.
so I don't know what you lot were getting up to, but I certainly got well planted, I'll tell you that.
Oh, good.
Yes. So how are you?
Yeah, I'm extremely well, thank you, David. What can I tell you? I've seen a few things. I've actually viewed a View It.
How can I stop you there? You've seen things, but would people believe them?
No, not necessarily.
Ah,
But I know I've actually viewed a View It. So that's that curious Japanese reinvention of a sort of a baby Mark II Jaguar. I don't know if you've ever seen one of those, David, at all.
no, thankfully not.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Yeah, it's a tiny pocket size shrunk in the wash Jaguar Mark II, except it isn't. Obviously, I think it's a micro underneath. Like most of those seem to be. I could be wrong on that. I haven't researched it. TVR on a flatbed. That wasn't unusual, was it? Really, a TVR Griffiths on a flatbed on the opposite side of a dual carriageway I was on. Saw some quite nice V8 uh, Ford pickups, sort of American custom styly. That was actually quite nice. And in fact, yeah, we're in the middle of a sort of a heat wave as we record this. Well, certainly where I am. I don't know about you, David. But a lot of roof missing vehicles I've seen just recently. XR3 Cabriolet, that was quite nice to see. I haven't seen one of those for ages. An E30 BMW Cabriolet was behind me for quite some time yesterday. Couldn't see exactly what it was because it was behind me, but it looked very nice. Um, and when I turned off, I couldn't see what it was as it went past. And I was in a car park the other day, and there was a Morris Minor convertible. And the joyous thing about that, again, it was one of those which looked as though it had been used. You know, it was a bit, slightly sort of shops shored round the edges. But it looked as though it was used and enjoyed, and it was parked in a car park without the hood up. So obviously, they were having fun. So yeah, it was good to see people going about their business in classic cars.
Well, I've got to be careful of
Why?
seeing cars with the hoods down because,
Really?
well, old friend the MX5 Owners Club are after
Oh
me at the
yes.
moment,
Are they?
and not
Oh
least
no.
because there was one part in the car park with the
Yeah.
hood down,
Yeah.
and I not unreasonably put my litter in it. I thought
Oh
it
right.
was a bin. I really did. I did apologise profusely, but there we go. Anyway, never mind that. I saw the holy grail of cars
Oh
this
did you?
week. Yeah, and it's got pop-up lights and they're even up.
Oh right.
Lotus Elan
Lotus. Lotus.
M100, a Lotus an Elan M100 in Calypso Red,
Yeah.
as fine a car as ever has been built.
Oh right.
There were also some other quite attractive classic cars. There was a gaggle of MGs, some midgets, and some Bs, mostly chrome bumpers.
Yeah.
Probably had been at an event somewhere. That was quite pleasant to see that there was a warm day that day,
Yeah.
unlike today when it's been chucking down. But it was a nice sunny day and they had the roofs down, and yeah, it was a pleasant sight. Watching them burble along. Apart from that, just the usual porridge, really, I suppose.
Yeah.
I didn't see anything to compare with the Elan.
No.
Not many cars would, of course. So that was it. So that fortified me in the face of opposition from the Mazda Brigade.
Yeah.
So obviously, well, I've upset certain people this week, and I'm sure James has too, because again, that's just how it is. When you try and be the beacons of truth and or something
Yeah.
like that, yeah, you tend to get brickbats thrown at you. Usually by
Absolutely.
the wife, so I'm used to that. I'm quite experienced at dealing with them. But there we go. Anyway, shall we move on to
Yeah.
this week's banger or classic?
Right.
And this one I don't know about. Not what
Yeah.
you're going to think of this. It's the Chrysler Crossfire,
Mm.
a sort of Art Deco-ish coupe.
Well, it's a sort of a poor man's Batmobile, really, isn't it? I would describe it as.
Uh, well, you see, no, I see. I thought more. It was, I suppose, it was kind of if you designed a modern AMC pacer but turned it
Yeah.
into a coupe, it might look something like that.
Right.
And again, maybe not. Maybe I'm just talking nonsense. And
Yeah.
heck, we're all used to that. But yeah. So, what did you make of it, though?
I don't know. I didn't mind it really. As we know, it's Mercedes related. You don't have to
Mm.
dig very far to find a Mercedes underneath it, and I don't know. I don't really mind it really. Um, I think it sort of looks okay in its own way. They are absurdly cheap, of course. So we should all pile in and buy one because they're not a lot of money, and the roof comes off, so that's great, isn't it? So you can,
Well,
uh,
some of them, yeah. I mean,
it's,
other ones you
yeah,
might do the tin opener.
exactly. But yeah, I didn't think it was too bad really. I've heard a lot of criticism about it, but unless it's to do with unreliability issues, I wouldn't mind one really. It would, yeah, I think it would be um, a very cost-effective way to be a teeny bit different because I think the
Hmm.
majority of people don't know what they are. It's one of those things that you can
Hmm.
drive about in, and it would genuinely stump most people apart from anybody who listens to this podcast.
Yeah, well, it's all three of us then.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, what can we say about the Crossfire? As every schoolboy knows, built for about 4 years, 2003 to 2007, built in Germany, I
Mm,
believe, by
yeah,
Carmen.
that's right.
So that's a plus.
Mm,
Some German build quality there. Joe Demer of Chrysler said that its lines were intended to polarize. Well, I'm not sure that's a wise concept,
yeah,
but yeah, they probably did polarize. Uh, I don't mind its looks, I have to
yeah,
say. I don't mind its looks. You're right in saying, James, of course,
yeah,
it's a Mercedes underneath. It's based on a Mercedes platform and it contains a lot of Mercedes parts, not least the engine,
yeah,
which is the 3.2 litre V6, and I believe there were some supercharged ones as well.
yeah,
In either guys, whether normally aspirated or supercharged, it was a pretty quick car.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's not too bad. Reliability, I don't think is brilliant, but I don't think it's disastrous either. But one thing that got me about it
Mm,
is recirculating ball steering.
all right.
Why? Why? Whereas it was built in the 21st century, why are we persisting with that? Rack and pinion, as every schoolboy knows, is far superior.
Mm,
It's a bit of a strange one. I think that's probably down to its Mercedes roots,
yeah,
because Merc used to love recirculating ball steering.
yeah.
And again, I don't know why, but there we have it. So yeah, they made 76,000 of them over the years. So that's
Mm,
not a bad tally for a 4-year one of a two-seat coupe that's a little bit different. So what do I think about it? I think, well, I wouldn't rush out and buy one,
mm.
but equally, I do not dislike it in any way, shape, or form. So yeah, classic for me.
Oh, but yeah, absolutely, David. I'm very much on board with you there. I think it's yeah, quite a good way to go coupeing or open air motoring. And
Yeah, yeah.
as we say, it's very very good value, and it's
Hmm.
probably going to be good value forever. I would have thought.
Yeah, yeah. My view is, possibly damning it with faint praise. It's not bad at all.
Yeah,
Anyway, we'll move on and we'll take a break. Then we'll come back and see what else we've got for this week. Assuming the Mazda MX5 Owners Club don't rush the house, and again had to repel several attacks this morning already.
goodness me.
Yeah, they were very cleverly disguised as the postman, a
Yeah,
guy walking his dog can pass. I mean, maybe it was just a postman, but I'm quite concerned about the whole thing, I have to say.
yeah. Well, it does pay to be paranoid, David.
It's not so much paranoia, James, as my infamy is a problem. Infamy, they've all got infamy. And on that note, let's take a break. You're listening to the Bangers and Classics podcast, presented by James Ruppert, maker of the world's finest fake beards, and by some other bloke who's currently number one on Interflora's most wanted list. And we're back after the break, and we're going to jump into this week's challenge. And the challenge is, James, as I'm sure
Yeah.
you remember,
No, no idea.
no idea, well, it makes two of
Yeah.
us. It says here, you've been granted a display slot at the year's poshest Concours
Mhm.
d'Elegance. A budget of 10,000 acres, £10,000 to some people. Your mission is to buy a show-stopping car. There's no other criteria. You can buy what the heck you like,
Mm,
as long as it's 10,000 squid or less. What did
yeah.
you get?
I don't know. Am I going first or are you going first?
Oh, I think you should go first,
Really?
James.
Well, I don't know why that should be. But
Oh, age before beauty or
age
something like
before
that.
beauty. Well, there you go. Yeah. Yeah, it's quite an interesting sort of challenge that really. But I,
Down to
um,
faint praise again.
yeah. But my eye was very, very taken by a Volga, a 1976 Volga, made by Gaz, and
Well, Gary made it.
Yeah, old Gaza. Um,
Yeah.
and it's only 3,500. It's obviously left-hand drive. It's from 1976. It does have an MOT, but it's only 3,500. So it seems like something of a bargain to me, and I think that would really stand out against the concours crowd. Doesn't seem to be any rust. The seller says there's no rust. Actually, puts that in the description. Lots of work's been done to it, and for £3,500, that just seems extremely good. I know I have a bigger budget, but to me, yeah, if I was going to park that in a concours, let's do that. I think that would part the waves a bit. So yeah, proper Soviet 70s saloon.
Proper. Where'd you see it?
I think that's Car and Classic. That one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
what colour is it, James?
like a creamy colour. It's like a white.
Right.
Yeah.
Any sort of technical spec you want to share with us?
Uh,
Yeah, in case there's people out there what they are in the market for one.
what size is the engine? Well,
Has
it's
it got an
only,
engine?
it has got an engine. It's only
Right.
done 21,000 kilometres. I can't see what size. I did see the engine size actually earlier on, but I don't know where. I can't focus on it at the moment. But no, it's a petrol powered car from the 70s. It's probably terrible to drive or something. It's probably very clunky and heavy, but it would be fun, and you would never ever see another on the road like it. And
Right, wow. That's very true, I think.
yeah,
Hmm.
and it will get you through the winter. It'll get you through a hard winter.
Right. I'm sure it would, yes. Well, I took my inspiration from something a friend of mine said many years ago,
Mm,
um, as we were driving through the streets of our hometown. There's some very nice houses in the area, and I said, "Yeah." We were just chatting. I said, "Nice houses, those." He said, "Yeah, if I could ever afford to buy one of those, I would buy as many old cars as possible, wrecks, and put them in the garden just to drive the neighbours wild."
yeah.
You have to bear in mind that we were in our 20s in those days, and he was quite mad. He's a respectable married man now with a Porsche.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he claims. Anyway, so judging, I thought, well, that's not a bad idea. Concours d'Elegance, it's terribly, terribly nice, terribly over restored cars. Why don't I just take the biggest heap I can find, park it on the lawn? So I went to eBay, and I found something that even there was listed as, and I quote, brave restoration. I thought, blooming heck, I don't think even Lazarus could resurrect this one.
Yeah.
It's a Vauxhall Cavalier Mark II, 1.8 SRI Auto. It's silver. It's judging by the registration number. It's about 1983 or so.
Mm,
It's not being broken, and it's supposed to be a barn find. Now, amongst other things, the ad says there's rust everywhere. And judging by the state of the car, I imagine even the seat covers have got rust on them.
goodness me.
I would imagine so. It's been in the barn for about 30 years. It apparently has all the right parts. SRI boot spoiler, SRI alloys, centre seem to be missing, and SRI boot badge. And apparently there's a head in the boot. Now, he doesn't say
Goodness
if
me.
it's a cylinder head or a human head.
Yeah, there you go.
Bear that one in mind. I mean, it could be either. Front headlights are smashed, and the front passenger wishbone has possibly snapped as the wheel moves a lot in the wheel arch. Oh, yeah, and it was taken off the road for a possible head gasket failure. Well, that would probably explain why the inlet manifolds off and engines and bits. So there's an airbox also in the boot of the car. I mean, really, this thing looks to be beyond salvation, I have to say. But you never know. Maybe somebody might buy it. But the whole point is, take that to a really posh conquer, stick it on the lawn. In fact, just dig up the ground around it,
Mm,
and put it there as a unit, as an installation, if you want to call it that.
yeah. Mm,
You know, because whatever else it is, James,
yeah.
at least it's honest.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got the grime and decay of life on it.
Mm,
Where many of these cars you might go to Monterey, yeah, they're lovely, they're gorgeous, but they've been restored to
mm,
ridiculous levels. They're not even driven. So why not take one that you can't drive? It's just a wreck. Stick it there and say, well, here's the yin to your yang.
mm.
And that's my entry in the challenge. And I know it's going to fail. No one's going to like it, but I don't care.
Well, I think we picked two crackers there, David. Really, I mean, if
No, I
two,
think we are crackers,
I
James. I
think,
think there's a big difference.
I think if two cars are going to get us, ejected from, a prestigious event, that's how we're going to do it.
We'd probably get ejected anyway in general
Really?
principles.
Oh, okay.
I'm quite sure of it, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're both marked men, for not necessarily for the same reason. We both have our detractors out there, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And it's all good fun. Which is the whole point. Anyway, there was one other thing for this week. It's just a shorter podcast this week.
Yep.
After last week's exertions.
Yeah.
We have a Danger Mobile.
Goodness me.
Yeah. Can I say anything nice about this one? It's a Nissan 100. You remember that, James, don't you?
Well, I do. I had to go and find a magazine that I wrote a piece about it. Well, just an entry, really, in a sort of a list, sort of well over 20 years ago.
Right.
But it's one that's completely and utterly, most people would have no idea whatsoever what a 100NX is.
Yeah.
I mean, it really. And the last time you saw one, I wouldn't know when that would be. Everyone knows the 200SX. Very famously. Used as a sort of drift car, whereas 100NX, I don't know. I don't know whether that would drift, because basically it's a Nissan Sunny, isn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly something. I
It
mean, I imagine your review of it would be rather more wordy than mine. My review extended to all of 2 words.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, it's crap.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think it's that bad. I mean, it's going to be reliable. It's a Nissan. You've got a sort of, you can take the roof out, which is quite interesting. And, it's a sort of a T-bar affair. And I don't know, it's quite cute. And on the basis that you don't see them at all, it's certainly worth saving. If I saw one, I'd go and save it.
I knew somebody who had one.
Oh, do you? Really? Goodness me.
Yes, it's back in the day, back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And he seemed like a decent enough guy.
Yeah.
What possessed him to buy one is beyond me. I mean, I reckon, it's a poor effort. It was designed by a committee who met down the pub got to work. Yeah, well, they did. They met down the pub and got to work only after having had a few. That's how it seems to me. Sure, it isn't the case, but it seems that way. And looking at it and thinking about it, I'm thinking, well, maybe I'm a bit harsh in the MX5 compared to this. Come back, MX5, all is forgiven. Well, not quite, but it certainly makes the MX5 look good. In the UK, I believe there were 2 versions. There was
that's right.
There was one with a carburettor, which gave you 89 horsepower, and the other one gave 101 with fuel injection. So it wasn't a ball of fire, which is fair enough. Basically, it basked in, I suppose, the reflected glory of the 200NX, which was a good car.
Yeah,
the first series was a good car, and it was a good-looking car. A friend of mine had one, and he absolutely loved it. 100NX, well, not so much, I have to say. It was also a contemporary, at least for part of its production life, of the Mark I Vauxhall Tigra. And I think it's even worse than the Tigra.
Right. And
if you know how much I don't like the Tigra, I just never liked it back in the day, and I've never warmed to it. Sorry, Tigra owners, but if you like your car, as I always say, good, great. That's the most important thing. For me, though, no, not a non-starter. The 100NX to me seems like a coupe for people who wear Bryan Island shirts and who drink wine because they think it's the done thing. And that's probably says it all, I think, as far as I can say. There's 115 left on the road. 301 and so on. 8 years ago, there were over 500 on the road.
Wow.
And the numbers dropped to 115. So if you want to save it, now's the time.
Yeah.
Because numbers are dropping year on year. And even though I don't like it, and I've got to be blunt about that, somebody will love it. Make a great car for somebody.
Yeah.
So if you're going to save it, now's the time to get one while you still can.
Yeah.
That's the most positive thing I can say about it. Yeah. I regret to say I actually like liking stuff and not. I don't even like disliking stuff, but I've got to be honest. So, James, you're going to stick up for this car?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I may have given the impression they're just Targas, but no, there was a proper coupe, and there was proper coupe, and a Targa version, so you could choose between either or either. And there was a special edition Pacific in 1995, apparently, according to my records. But there you go. I quite like the fact that it's such an unusual car, and just on the basis that it will probably get you to the shops and back without breaking down.
Sure, it would, yeah. Nissans are reliable. So it's a push bike. They're pretty reliable too,
Yeah.
James. Anyway, so I think that's us for this week. I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything else we can
No.
usefully add. Thanks for listening.
Yeah. Cheerio, everybody.